Hi, everyone. Hopefully, you had a great Thanksgiving holiday and are getting back in the swing of the last couple of weeks of class here. So, I just wanted to go over a couple of items from last week and then also from this week to get us ready for submission of your final projects, etc. So, last week, we really focused a little bit on managerial epidemiology and specifically some types of studies. And in the discussion, we talked about various studies. But I think the thing that's really key is that, especially if you come from a clinical background, which I know some of you do, a lot of folks think of these types of studies, um, cohort type studies, randomized controlled trials, those types of things, as solely things that we use in the clinical world. But we really can use studies to improve our operations as well, and use these types of studies to help improve our operations. So hopefully, it was helpful kind of taking a look at these types of studies, the different mechanisms that exist, and then, how from the difference between managerial epidemiology and just straight up epidemiology is really what it sounds like. Epidemiology tends to be used more on the public health side of the operation of healthcare, looking at disease control, prevention, prevalence, those types of things. Super interesting stuff, but doesn't really weave its way into what we do in the traditional healthcare setting as much. But we can use we can use information from epidemiologists, or we can use those same models to create our own studies of issues and problems and positives that are occurring within our population. So, the population of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is the whole country. The population that you may be dealing with as a healthcare administrator may just be your patient population in your hospital, your health system. So, just important to remember those that we really can use that information. And from a research perspective, like the research that we do as faculty, we use those models all the time. One other thing, I hope you enjoyed doing the word cloud. I used to have students just rewrite the paper, kind of take their week one reflection and look back at that same question again. Hopefully, I thought this would be an interesting way. It's the first time I've done it. I thought it would be an interesting way for us to take a look at, how maybe your thoughts on population health and care coordination, et cetera, have changed over the past 6 weeks. So I saw a couple of them already. I'm looking forward to looking at the rest of those as well. A couple things that I want to talk about. I'm going to pop back to week 5 here. So we looked at I looked at your topics you've chosen for your final paper last week, and provided you some feedback. Please be sure to take a look at that feedback from week 5 if you haven't already. But the one thing that I think that probably the issue that I found most throughout the topic submissions was the focus of your paper. So keep in mind, you're not necessarily looking to be a provider. You're looking to be a certain type. Now, you can give yourself a name if you want to write it from a pure hypothetical, I'm the CEO of Hospital X type situation, or if it's maybe the facility that you currently work at or the organization. So if you work at Allegheny General Hospital, you could say, at AGH, I'm looking to do this. I've taken over as CEO, or I've taken over as Director of Population Health, and I'm looking to do this. I think the key is, and this is really a key that as you progress through graduate school, and you guys are almost to the end, but as you progress through, at least the students that are in our RMU program, sorry for you folks that are not, but as you progress through, your work becomes more difficult, obviously, but also we're not just looking for you to restate information that you find. We're looking for you to take information that you've learned, analyze it, and apply it. And I think the issue that I'm seeing with a couple of the topics, and I did provide feedback on it, is that I'm looking for you to take information you've learned throughout the class, as well as information that you'll learn through your research and apply that to a situation. Now, some people, like I said, if you work at Allegheny General, you can create a hypothetical situation at Allegheny General. And I think this is what the focus should be here. You're looking to create more care coordination, more comprehensive efforts moving toward the triple aim than what you currently have. So I don't want folks to simply write a paper telling me about some innovation that their organization implemented 3 years ago. I want someone to tell me about what you're going to do as the leader of that organization, innovating something new, new innovations, new things being adopted. Now, it might just be you may approach it, and I had just written this out to a student earlier. You might say, I work for physician practice Y, and we are going to seek the accreditation as a patient centered medical home. That's a great way to push forward to build care coordination. But there's a whole process involved in that. So you'll need to research that process. You'll need to maybe look and see how other patient-centered medical homes have been successful. Those types of things. So it's kind of written in the hypothetical based in real research, rooted research, things that people have done in the past. And you'll tell me in your paper how barriers and opportunities for the organization, how it's going to impact your patient population, how it might decrease the cost of care. You might tell me about data that you need to use. But in any case, you're not going to just report on an innovation that someone else has put in place. You are going to report on a provider type that you've chosen, maybe a hospital, maybe a physician practice, whatever, and how your organization, your hypothetical organization, is going to proceed into making additional change. Or if you choose to focus on a specific organization, like Allegheny General as my example, it's going to be really a fictitious thing unless you're aware of some new effort that they have that's going to be upcoming. So hopefully that makes sense. Please reach out if you don't understand what we're looking at, but then also review that information in the classroom in your Blackboard feedback to see my thoughts for you on your topic. Along those lines, I'm noticing, and a lot of them are really grammatical errors or structural errors to papers that are made week after week after week without any improvement. So it makes me think that perhaps some folks are not actually reading the feedback that I'm putting on the documents. I'm pretty sure the majority of you should know how to access, and I unfortunately can't show you here, but I can give you access to some videos if you're not sure, to access the feedback that you'll see in the Turnitin studio. It's very important that you review that. Simple things like writing a paper in APA format. I know every week I note that on some papers, but I'm still seeing assignments coming in that aren't written in APA format. So it's especially for this final project, I'm going to expect this to be in full APA format. And if there's not, there will be points taken for that. I don't like to take points away for silly things like that. So if you can fix it, please do. And if you can't access those, if you're unsure how to access those comments, please let me know and I'm happy to help. So this week we have a written discussion board instead of a video one, no Flipgrid this week. So, but I really wanted you to share a summary of an article, and I thought it might be best to do it that way so that you can cite it properly and we can actually take a look at the article. It's hard to do in the video to provide actual citations. Then obviously you have your paper here, your information about the paper. You'll be submitting it here. This, unfortunately, with Turnitin projects, you can only actually list out so many words. So I wanted to make sure that all of this was in the actual description of the project. So the Dropbox for it is actually found directly beneath that. And I think that might be it. This week we're really going to focus on cost effectiveness, and looking at a cost benefit analyses when we're talking about decisions in healthcare. So there are some ethical concerns about cost effectiveness, cost benefit analyses when we start talking about long-term care of patients that maybe would not be alive if it weren't for the treatments that, not futile treatments that we're providing to them. There are a lot of ethical issues to think about in that world. But then also, medical testing is a huge issue with regard to over testing, defensive medicine, those types of things. So just some information I thought would be interesting to talk about this week, and focus back out. In this class we focused a lot on care coordination model, population health overall, the clinical side of moving toward the triple aim. But this is one of those aims as well, making sure that we're providing, that we're decreasing that per capita cost of care. So, a way to look at effectiveness, we're going to take a look at a little bit of that this week. So that's all I have. Remember, as we're moving forward into week 8, that week 8 is short. It only runs from Monday, which would be a week from today. I'm recording this on the 2nd, so it would only run from Monday through Friday. So I don't think we have a lot of assignments. I usually just do a discussion. Yeah. So all we'll have is a discussion board to do next week, as well as an ed puzzle and a optional discussion board providing feedback on the class. But outside of that, it'll be pretty limited work-wise. But remember that everything needs to be posted by Friday. So that would be Friday. Oh gosh, I'm not so good with dates, but it would be Friday. Let's see, next. I guess I could just open the calendar. That would be easiest. So that would end up being Friday the 13th. Yikes. But it's Friday the 13th is the last day of class. And then for those of you that are here at RMU, we do have a short break, which is nice and unusual for us. And I don't believe we start back, let's see, our classes start back up on the 11th. So that's a nice little break that we get this term for folks that are taking 8-week classes. So if there's anything else that you need, or if you need any assistance with regard to your final project and kind of honing that topic, please feel free to reach out. For those of you that are local, I will be at my office hours this week in the office, so you can always feel free to stop by there or make an appointment. And I'm happy to meet with you live or chat with you on the phone, or we can meet up in the classroom in the Collaborate session and chat there. So enjoy your final full week of class. Any questions, let me know, and I'll look forward to talking with you in the discussion board. Thanks.